this is the regular way of handling with closures. If you want to, let's say, get back to a screen and all this, you write the closures. That is fine, enough for making it work. But then I was feeling this was becoming a little unmanageable. Many closures, many things over here. Closures can do it, but then I thought maybe let's do one more thing over here where logout. Along with this logout, I'm going to modify let's go back to the window and modify some of the things over here. I'm just going to add something called an enum. You will understand why I'm adding this. I'm just going to call it as route to. So it gives me cases like maybe landing is not a case, but then it can log in to go to the login page or a sign up page or even chat rooms. So these are the different route scenarios that we can identify. It can route to landing initially, then login, sign up, chat rooms. I'm just keeping 4 options right now. So I'm going to use this to create or modify at least things over here. I'm just going to say route 2 can happen for some of the cases. Routing needs to be handled. Let me just verify. Okay, landing is not actually not required, because landing anyways, like the first thing that you are doing, first launch, it's going to land on the landing screen if you are not logged in, or either it goes to the chat rooms. So those are the only 2 scenarios you can envision when app is being launched. Other scenarios are like on logout, it can come to login page, or it can if you are not logged in from the landing, you go to the login or sign up and then go to the chat rooms. So scenarios are only these 3 are the navigations post maybe app has launched. It can either go to the chat rooms or it can go to the landing. These are the only 2 scenarios on app launch. So that's the reason I'm just keeping these 3, and I'm just going to modify the routing right now. And routing initially, like I said, this route to landing is going to happen on the first launch. After that, you tap on the get started button and then it takes you to the login page. That's the only scenario. So there is no routing as such. There is no like a segregation between it has to go from here to there or there. It's only one path, which is always to the login page. So I'm just going to keep this as one signal. On tap, you already know where it needs to go. So I'm just going to keep it as a single void type over here. And that's the scenario where, okay, so window does not seem to have dependencies needed. Let me add those. Build faces, link binaries. RxSwift. Maybe I can add these 3 mostly, which might be needed. Just going to add those 3. So single is fine. Now from login, there are 2 scenarios which can happen right now. From login, you can either on login with credentials, you can either go to chat rooms or you can swap to the sign up screen. So 2 scenarios are happening. For that sake, I'm just going to keep this single as a single of route 2, because I know it can route to 2 different parallel routes. Maybe like it can either be this or that. Similarly, for even the sign up can do the same thing. Like it can either on sign up, it can take you to the chat rooms, or you can swap to the login back. So again, for that sake, I'm going to keep these single route to. And route to chat rooms, again, it's going to have one scenario only, because you can route back from chat rooms to login page. So that's the only scenario I feel needs to be there. But then, okay, let's see. I'm just going to keep it as void. So these are my new route changes. So it's going to change my whole implementation. So that's the reason this is already giving me error. So route to landing we defined as a single with a void. Route to login, we know that it's a single with a route to. Even route to sign up is a single with a route to again, and this one I'm just keeping as single of route void. That's what I have defined right now, and we need to import RxSwift. So this is already giving me errors because I need to start returning some things like a single. So what I am going to do is comment out all the routes which were happening within all these closures, because I don't want now to call these closure values. Instead I'm going to rely on the single success values which we are going to return. So for that sake I'm going to create singles right now. This is more like the refactoring is more like moving away from a closure approach to a RxSwift single or RxSwift observable approach. Single is nothing but a single value being propagated from an observable. After that it completes its job. It will not send multiple values. That is the job of a single. So that's the only reason I'm just modifying, refactoring it to make it more like a observable based routing approach. So first approach is fine if you just need to keep a closure based approach where you don't define any, you're not sending a return value over here. Instead you're relying on the closures value and then just routing from over here itself. So that's what I'm going to try change here. Return disposables dot create. Should be fine now. So because we need to send something back over here, so we know that single route to login is being asked over here. So we need to send a single, and I'm gonna call success, and I'm going to say this is route to landing, right? So it's always going to be routing to from the landing. I always know that it's going to route to the should be fine. So it's always going to route to login page from landing. I know that. So I'm just gonna modify it like this, and I'm just going to get rid of this call over here, and I'm going to go back to my route to landing implementation within the builder. So its route to landing was over here within the process. There was only one call which was happening from the presenter. Now you're going to see that multiple routing calls is going to happen right from the presenter's process instead of this just one call. So this was making sense to me because we are just making the presenter do more work than router do it. Like router's definition is only to handle all the processing which might happen. Let's say on launch you show this. After that if there is a transition which needs to happen, then router can just give a call back to the presenter again and ask the presenter to again define where it needs to navigate from. That's only the refactoring I'm right now doing over here. So because of this, route to landing is now a map. Okay, route to landing is going to be a flat map because I need to call now the route to the logins page. So that's what is going to happen. You don't need any value over here, and I need the router. So this is the simplest case, but it's going to get a little complicated once we have all the things coming over here. So now I know route to login needs to happen over here. So this is the first call. Once the flow lands over here, it's going to trigger this route to landing, and then once a callback comes back, then again map it. So this is where it gets a little tricky. Route to is something which this one gives out, the route to login. This was pretty simple. We know that first thing which needs to happen on launch of the app was to go to the landing page. Again, it is only if you are not already authenticated and validated, you will end up in the landing page. But that's not the scenario anymore. We are also including something where if the user is already authenticated and the tokens are available within the system or within the app, then you are not actually navigating the user directly to the login landing, but you need to take him to the chat rooms directly. That needs to happen. So I'm just going to first thing first, I'm just going to do this. So this is already become already a little messy over here, because I know route to landing happened over here. Then I am defining route to login, and its result I'm capturing here. From route to login, what needs to happen? It can take two ways. Like it can either go to chat rooms or it can take swap to the sign up screen. So again, it's becoming a little too much conditionals over here, conditional statements. So I'm gonna again make this a little easier for us by introducing something called as the relay over here, which can accept different values. Like I'll show you how. So I'm gonna define a relay called route to relay. It's going to be a publish relay, so I need to include Rx relay for that. So it's going to be a publish relay, which will accept a type of route to, and that's just going to instantiate over here. So that's my relay. Also, I'm going to define lazy var a driver as well, route to driver, which will be derived from this this relay itself, driver. So it's asking for a driver. That means I need to make this Rx Coco. The intention is because it's already getting messier over here. It can have multiple logical options over here. I'm just going to make this a little more optimized. Route to relay, I'm just going to convert that into a on error drive with nothing. Never, don't drive at all if there is an error. So that case is not going to happen. So I have defined a relay over here. So this is what I'm right now going to use to optimize these things, which is going to happen. Like I know on route to landing this needs to happen, and then it can take two routes over there. So I'm just going to get rid of all those conditional statements, make it optimized. So now what can happen is, first thing, this is fine, route to login is fine, and then whatever is the route to value, this is fine. Route to landing, I know after route to landing it needs to anyway go to the login flow. So I'm just fine with these one, but whatever happens after that is problematic, because I need to define conditional statements. So whatever is the value being received from route to, I'm going to use this relay to capture that. So I'm just going to say route to relay dot accept the route to value. Simple as that. So once this is received, this will start sending a signal like specific to that route. Like if I am, let's say, on route to login, if I have decided to go to the swap to sign up screen, I will receive that value over here, and this is going to send a signal saying route to swap is being triggered. Now you need to route to the sign up screen. So that's what this does. So maybe I can again optimize these things. to a great extent. I don't maybe I can get rid of all these. Route to landing, I don't need this. Maybe just call. That's fine. Again, I just need to accept this route to value. So this flat map is giving a route to value to me. I just need to accept that. So I can maybe again get rid of all these extra code. I can just say self dot route dot accept. So anyway, we know it's this is only going to send back an accept value of route to. So I don't need all these full representation, because it's going to identify the dependency which is needed and then accept that directly. So again, it is optimized. So you just have 3 lines. So what this does is, once you launch the app, it takes you to the route to login landing page. You tap on whatever you start the app, goes to the login page. From there you are deciding where to go. It can either be swapping, or you can log in to the app and then take you to the chat room screen. So maybe I can just show you whether it is working or not by just defining this relay and drive it and see. Drive dispose by bag I need to define. Yes, private let bag dispose bag. So that's done. So maybe I can include a debug over here and show you what's going on. Debug identifier list route to driver identifier. Maybe we can keep that and see what will happen. So it's not going to complete, it's going to get stuck somewhere, because after this decision making, it cannot take the okay, anyway we have so many errors, so nothing is going to work right now. Let maybe fix that once before moving on to that one. So we have solved this one, resolved this one. Let's do the same over here as well. Create a single and return a disposable. That's fine, and then bring this inside and maybe get rid of, comment out these navigations which is happening, which is going to get converted to the single calls right now. So this is more like login flow. We are not defined anything for that login, so ideally it should give you, we will call this single and then define the route to over here. So for just avoiding the compilations errors, I'm just gonna complete this once. Even that one, that's complete. Should not give a problem. We can comment this one, the navigations, and finally this one, route 2 is a void. Okay, that's also done. So compilations are gone. Let's see what triggers over here. Going to the landing. So you can already see there is some issue over here, because this is not complete. I need to drive this. So otherwise it will not give you it will not get subscribed. So this is flat map, accept as driver. Yeah, let's see now. So it's subscribed now, so it should launch the lock screen. So this was needed because you need to subscribe to it. So now you see it's subscribed, route to driver is subscribed. This one we need to see what all values it receives. First is start, So login request got subscribed, that is something else. And now let's say if I already and tap on this, nothing happened. So we are not receiving anything from because we are tapping on it but nothing is happening. That is because that flow is broken. If you look at it, you are on the login screen, and the navigation flow we have broken right now. Router, this callback, you don't, it's just not going to work because we don't have that callback implemented. So that's what we need to start doing. Let's see, this is the router login screen. Nothing is happening as yet, so we need to start working on receiving these values. So what do we have? We have this routing value not received yet. It's only subscribed. You need to receive a value for this. So route to login happened, that anyway worked. So let's see what went wrong over there. Router login happened. It created this routing flow, and it's on swap it has to come over here. So we did not have anything over here. So for that to work, we need to start sending this route to value over it. So let's get rid of this one and then call this single dot success route to. We know it needs to navigate to the sign up screen. So I think this will give you that first trigger. On swap, launch the sign up view. It's not going to launch the sign up view yet because we don't have any code yet, but it's going to show you that that signal is being sent. First signal, this is the first subscribe signal. Now you tap on this, it's giving you an event saying now sign up needs to happen. So this event is now received over here in the presenter. This one, it's received. So now this driver has to decide where it needs to take it. So before that, so at least this login route to login flow to an extent is complete. It's not completely done because we still have to do this routing where it needs to route to the chat room screen. So that also we need to include. Similar to this one, we need to say single success. This is more like when login is complete. So this flow is for when login flow is complete, it needs to take you to the chat room. Nothing is again going to happen right now. I'll show you. It's just going to trigger that driver over here. So I'm just going to do a login right now. Login is completed. It's not going to the login screen because we are not wired that driver to the routing aspect, but at least we are sending that signal saying this got triggered right now. Launch tab bar from here, and we are sending that signal to the presenter again saying now you need to launch the chat rooms. That is happening. So now we know what this driver does. It's receiving those signals which is needed. All that we now need is to wire those router calls so that we can launch these screens. So let's do that. I'm just going to keep this, but then we might have to start handling each and every call. So I'm just going to say router drive. I'm just going to add some filters over here. Filter, first predicate is $0. It's going to be a case based thing, so I just need to say guard case of, if it is swap to this it can be different things. Right now we are facing sign up is one trigger. If $0 is nothing but your route to driving, if $0 is sign up, I'm filtering only that values. If that is not the case, I'm just going to say else. It's a filter, right? So we can always say return false. So don't trigger anything if it is not sign up, just return else. and if it is sign up, I'm just going to say okay, you continue with your work. I need to show the if route to driver. If it is sign up, I need to show the sign up. If not, I'm just ignoring this signal at that point. So this is more like I'm just avoiding that if else statements. If instead, I'm just going to create filters and then map those filters value. Map, and I'm not going to accept that. I don't need the router because I know it's going to be sign up. So I'm just ignoring that signal and just transforming this into an empty trigger. It's a void trigger. Just that if sign up is triggered, I ignore that sign up's route value and just send an empty void observable signal. And then I'm just then going to do a flat map on it and call router, because I know I need to show the sign up screen. So I'm just going to say route to sign up. That's it. And it's giving me an error. Route to sign up. Okay, this is being a driver. I need to transform this into an observable because it was all a driver, and then convert it back into a driver again. So driver will always run in the main thread. It will never error out. That's the reason. Whatever you need to do, convert it into an observable. If it needs to run in the background thread, make that all happen. Then finally convert it back into a driver so that it may again back runs in the main thread, and you can dispatch in the main thread and it will not error out. So this sign up flow is complete. So I can just show you that swap to start working now. The other things will not work. Swap is going to take you to the route to sign up screen, which is this call. It's going to take you to the sign up screen, but after the sign up, nothing is going to happen because we are not wired yet those signals back to the route, the presenter from the router. So at least I can show you what is going to happen right now. Start. So this is my swap call. It's swapped, but nothing going to happen because I am not wired. So I guess you got the gist of what I'm trying to do here. So similarly, we can start wiring multiple things like what needs to happen if it's a login call. You need to route to login, then route to login, and what needs to happen if it is chat rooms call. Chat rooms, you need to then route to chat rooms. It should not give me an error. So that's it. We have handled 3 scenarios, which is common. It can land in the landing page. It can take you to the login. After that, from login you can swap to either the sign up page, or you can log into the chat rooms directly. Then if you are in the sign up page, 2 things can happen. Either you can go back to the login page by swapping, or you can again land in these chat rooms directly. So those scenarios all are without including within a switch case or an if else. I'm just relying on the filter. If there is a signal received for sign up, I just take that and then route to the sign up. If not, I just ignore it. If it is login, it's going to get ignored over here, but it's going to get functional over here because this one is checking for your login, ignores any other signal, but then takes you the login. Similarly, here it's chat rooms, it takes you the chat room. So I need to make that modification in the router where I need to signal back all the calls over here. Success, this is going to be what? It's going to be chat rooms. Single success chat rooms, and this is going to be login, and this is going to be login, and this is going to be login. This is from after. Okay, this one is a void. So you just need to return a void, but then we know that from chat rooms, it's always going to return to the login screen. So I need to modify that as well, but then the wiring is almost complete. Let me go back to the presenter. Let me just check what happens on a chat rooms call. Chat rooms is, if it is received, it takes you to the, but if it is a log from the login, okay, it's better that even for this one, that's the reason I guess I kept it as a route to, because that will anyway give you a trigger from here that it needs to go to the login. I don't need to write anything separately. So this will always anyway take you to the login screen. So my presenter, if I receive a signal for login, it is going to come through this login and will take you to the login screen. I think the wiring is complete now. Let's just check once. But it's still, we don't have a logic to take you directly to the chat rooms yet. That's something we need to do. But at least let's check these ones. Back to login from sign up is not functional. That's because, let me check. Router. Sign up call is received and login call is happening. Did it get disposed or something? Let me check. Login. Things seems to be fine. Let me check once more what's going wrong. Start. Already have an account, takes you here to the sign up page, and let me go to the router. That's my sign up. It needs to come back to the login page. Tap on it. So it's giving me a signal over here, and maybe I just need to go back here. Login should be received over here, but that's not happening. That's because the login request event is completed. So something is messed up. Let me just have a look. Okay, that's a basic mistake, because every whatever signal is being received over here, we are not sending it to the drive or the relay which we created. So we need to map that value dot, because this is again giving a signal out over here, self dot route to relay dot accept that, because again that is sending a value on sign up. So similarly we need to do it at all places wherever we are receiving those route to values. Self dot relay dot accept. So should be done. Last thing, route to chat room is also giving me a callback. Map self dot relay accept. Should be fine now. I guess this should work. Compile. All the things are wired right now. So we were not receiving that value and triggering that driver's callbacks. Already have an account. Back to login, triggers this one. Now it should be available. Back to, yeah, now this works. So now I can log in and see whether it takes me to the chat rooms. Login takes you to the chat room. So this whole flow is complete. Now what we need to do is, on logout it takes me to the login, but then problem now what, so even this is working now. Even on logout it takes me to the login page. Problem is that we don't take, on relaunch it's not going to again take you to the chat rooms. That is what we need to do. Like if I rerun, it's going to take me again to the landing page, which should not happen. This should not happen. This is what we need to solve now. So for that, it's pretty simple. We need to just create a function in your account interactor. I'm just going to call it as validate, and it does nothing but sends you a signal saying what is the function parameters I defined. Account interactor validate was a single bool, so it's just going to send you a true or false value, and I can create a single return disposables dot create, and all that I'm going to do is self dot user settings dot I'm just going to check whether access token is available or not, if it is empty or not. So I'm just going to say a guard this one is not nil, else I'm just going to say return false. Not return false because this is going to be a single, so I can just return, but I need to send it through single dot, I'm just going to say through success itself false. But if it is available, I'm just going to say single true, single true, not success, true. So this means the user is valid, it is logged in. I'm just going to send that. Is empty. Okay, access token I have already captured using this one, so I don't need the empty check. Is empty. I don't need all of this. I can just say this. If not empty, that's what I need. I don't need the whole blocks. Enough code, because anyway this access token is being, this one is, I'm just checking for access token, I'm checking the this string dot this one. So if it is empty, so I can just say the user is not logged in, it maybe is logged out or something, or validation itself has not happened. So validate function does that. Now I can use this function within my window to check. Window presenter, I have the I don't have any use case there, so I need to define a use case. So I'm just going to create a use cases. I'm just going to grab whatever I have so that we don't waste much time over there. Presenter type alias, and then private let use cases. I'm just going to accept it through the init. Self dot use cases is use cases. Go to my use case, is going to be that's just one function, validate, and that's going to come through the use cases. I guess that's available for import use cases, and I can just call that interactor let accounts interactor calls use case factory dot accounts interactor, and then I have the validate function available dot validate. Now I can use this to validate that user. So let me go back to the presenter again. This is going to again trigger some changes because we cannot directly go to the landing page. Instead we have to validate that user use cases function I'm going to call. So this is going to give me a value of true or false. Flat map it's going to give me a value map. It is transforming into either it can be true or false. So if it is true, that means the user is existing. I need to take that user to the chat room screen. If not, he goes through this normal route to landing flow. So that's what we are going to do right now. So again, I'm going to apply a filter. So I'm just going to capture let validate equals use case dot validate. I'm just going to use that validate dot filter. If it is $0, I'm going to take this user to map. I don't want that value because if it is already true, I'll take him to the chat room screen. If it is not true, I'll go through this flow. So let's do the first not true case. Filter validate dot filter. If it is false, I map it and then I do a flat map and then associate this one. It's going to go through this flow and then it's going to be the same logic, not much change, because I need to convert it as observer. So that's the first flow. Filter, see whether it is false. That means the user is not validated. So I map it, convert that bool value to a empty thing, the void thing, convert that into an observable, and then start doing that flat map, route him to the landing, and it goes to the normal route flow. Now if the next case is if validate and the user is already logged in, that's the case where it is true. I know what I need to do. Map again. I ignored that value and convert that into a void signal, and then I'm gonna take the user through the login flow, route to not the login, route to the chat rooms flow. This is what I need. The flat to flat map as observable flat map, and then I'm gonna do the map because I need that value dot router dot accept. So once chat rooms work is done, if he let's say logs out, I need to capture even that one. So I'm just gonna convert that into a driver, map it. So this one I guess will take you directly now to the login page, I mean to the chat rooms. Two functions, we have just handled it using this. So let me run. So we need to log in and see once more. First, I guess that was the case where user was logged out. Now I have logged in. I'm not going to log out, but I'm going to relaunch. Came back, so there is a problem. So this validate, I guess, is, what did we write in the validate? If access token is not empty, that's true. So is that the case where access token is not empty? If it is empty, the user not validated. So this is case where true, I need to accept true as a valid case. So true is a valid case. Let me debug and see. Let's keep a debug. Validate false. Launching. What's the validate value? Validate is subscribed, event is next, false, event is completed. So we are getting a false value on relaunch for some reason. Let's check. Let's go here. Everything is empty, so save is not happening. I guess we need to check that. So for some reason, let me just relaunch. It started working, so maybe the first time it was not fine. Only that. Let's log out. Takes you the login screen. Wish. I don't know what happened. It did not work earlier. Logged in. Now I'm gonna relaunch. It should come back to the chat rooms again. Yeah, it's coming back. So that implementation is fine. And I guess that's pretty much only change I did this year is that I just modified it as a driver so that I don't I think validate was printing more than once. Validate subscribed event true completed disposed. I guess let's clear it once. Okay. Subscribed event. So there are two subscriptions to it. One is this and the other one is this. So I guess it's sharing that one. So I guess that's pretty much fine. This is what I wanted to show. At least now you're not going to get going to be the login screen always. It's going to take you to the chat rooms directly on login, but then problem will start happening right now when the token is going to expire in like 5 minutes. So I'm going to take a break of 5 minutes and come back, and then I'll show you what happens. It will not fetch you all the records right now like this, and it's going because the token is invalidated. That is when we are going to implement the request interceptor part that is coming up soon. So stay tuned for that. I'm just going to take a 5 minutes break before this token get expired. So bye from me now.